Hey there, everybody! How you doing? Welcome back to the first... Jesus Christ. Welcome back to the first full episode of the new season. We did our almost 3 hour long redraft of the 2005 NFL draft, which, if any of you sat through that, bravo to you.
I can't imagine anyone sat down for a full 3 hours and watched it all.
I can't imagine it either. But you know what? I put a lot of work into the names and all the moving parts on there, so I hope somebody at least enjoyed it. So, welcome to everybody. We enjoy having you here. We have a lot of news to get over, and then we are going to attempt to cover the preseason games that have not yet happened. Because one of them happened last night, and I watched a bit of it, and Chris watched a bit of it, but neither of us could stomach the whole thing. Also, part of that was because I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 last night.
Yep, I'd like to play it. Don't got the money yet.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've heard it's really good
so
far, yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Alright, but that's a whole nother... Like, that would be another channel. Another topic.
I mean, a whole different thing.
That's a whole different thing. We're not going to go off on that one. Alright, so... We're going to start, let's see, where do we want to start? Do we want to start in hockey because there's been a lot of stuff there? Or do we want to start in football? Or do we want to end with football and then go into the...
I guess we can just go straight into hockey and then we can just then football the rest of the way out.
Yeah, we can do hockey, the little NBA news that we have, and then football all the way through.
Football the rest of the way.
Got it. Okay, so hockey news. The biggest hockey news that I can think of right now is captain of the Boston Bruins, centerman, and one of the leading hockey players of the last decade, if not longer, Patrice Bergeron, has officially retired. He said, and I quote, "I want to go out on top of my game."
Yeah.
And I wish him all the best, and I am not at all sorry or empathetic to Boston.
Not at all.
Not at all. You've been good for very long. F off.
Yeah. Yep.
You need to be bad for a while. But you're not going to be bad because you're just going to keep bringing up people that make sense for you and somehow or another just keep plugging away. I don't get it. Yeah. How you keep finding...
Boston, Boston's Boston. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, I can hate them all I want, but they'll never be that bad.
No, and...
I just get to enjoy... The fact that I can enjoy the Patriots just being a middling team as well, like... If the Bruins can do the same thing and just be a middling team, I'll take that. I'll take that as the small enjoyment that I'll get out of it.
Yeah. And Swayman, Jeremy Swayman, he went to arbitration and they came upon a figure, so he's with Boston again. He'll be back as the backup in net to Ullmark. That was other big news. Let me see here. What are some of the other big ones? They reached arbitration with... Hold on, my brain stopped. The Toronto Maple Leafs reached arbitration with Samsonov, and they have him down for another year. And then they immediately used... Because when you go to arbitration, it gives you another movement cap something spot. And they immediately used that to put Matt Murray on LTIR. Which alleviated some of their cap headache. But you don't have to be cap compliant until a couple of weeks into the preseason.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like a week into the preseason, I think. There's a date that they all have to be compliant by, but it doesn't really matter. I think it might even be at the end of the preseason, right before regular season starts. You have to finish all your cap gymnastics and all of your ups and downs, because...
I'm pretty sure that's the same with the NFL, too, the way they do that.
Yeah, because what happens is you can send people back and forth from the AHL roster to the NHL roster with impunity up to a certain point, and then you have to set your teams. And then if you don't have a two-way contract, people have to go on waivers, and there's a whole big thing. But there's a day that all kicks in. So, that's a thing. And so they're going to have to become cap compliant. There were a couple of others. Let me see. Because I know the big one that hit today is that Tom Wilson, the rough man for the Capitals, has re-signed with the Capitals for 7 more years. Mm-hmm. I'm just happy that he is not going to become a Boston Bruin, because he fits their mentality of what kind of player you want to be. And I'm ready for that to not happen.
Fair enough.
And All-Star Troy Terry has agreed to a 7-year deal with the Ducks finally. They'll have to figure out Trevor Zegras now, obviously. That's the next big thing there. Oh, that's interesting. There's 2 interesting things here. First, the Oilers have hired Connor McDavid's longtime agent as their CEO.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a conflict of interest there or not.
I have to feel like that would be, but maybe. Yeah, that's. I would call that conflict of interest still, because the fact that you can be an agent still and have influence.
I don't know if he's going
to
be able to be an agent anymore.
He has to be able to get. I think he would have to give that up. Otherwise, I think that would be a conflict of interest. Because if he was still allowed to be an agent, that would be really. Yeah, I could see that being a problem.
Yeah. He's got a new agent now. It's Judd Moldaver.
Okay. I figured as much. I was like, there's no way they're gonna let him still be an agent. They just can't.
Jeff Jackson is now the CEO, and he was the agent. But that helps them to keep Connor around because he knows Jeff, and so when they negotiate,
it'll be like, hey, go, bud.
Yeah.
As long as there wasn't bad blood. If there was any bad blood, then that's...
No, apparently there is no bad blood. Okay. And here's the next funny bit. Mm-hmm. Remember back way before the draft, we talked about Kyle Dubas had become the team president for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And there was a lot of who's he going to hire as his GM? Who's going to be his GM? Well, let me tell you something. Kyle Dubas has found the perfect GM. His name is Kyle Dubas.
Fair enough.
He's going to be the GM and the team president.
I mean, you know what? I could see it working if you just have if you're smart. Now, granted, we've seen in the NFL only a couple people who can be both GM and coach, right? Like it's a similar kind of idea, except for I feel like in this case, I don't think there's as much extra workload that he'll end up having to do. So I feel like that would be not.
Yeah, but what happens what happens when Kyle Dubas has to fire Kyle Dubas? Because Kyle Dubas isn't performing.
I don't see, that's the thing. Kyle Dubas will never fire Kyle Dubas. Kyle Dubas will have to get fired by somebody else.
Oh, this is
so that is where that concern is, because obviously we've seen that in the NFL where if obviously
we've also seen it in the NBA.
Yeah, if you think of the Texans, right?
And I think of the New York Knicks with Isaiah Thomas.
But equally, it can work out, because if you think about, the Patriots and Bill Belichick, come on, it can work with the right mind. It can work.
The right mind and the right people and the right way to approach things can work out.
If there was anyone that I thought in hockey who could do it, probably would be Dubas, to be honest. He's got a pretty good head on his shoulders.
I still find it funny, but I agree.
It is funny, yeah. Don't get me wrong. If for whatever reason, even as just like an April Fool's joke, they came out and did the Kyle Dubas is fired, Kyle Dubas, that would be hilarious.
Oh, everybody would laugh at that.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So, but yes. So there, like I said, Tom Wilson has gone ahead. He's gotten his big deal. Yes, Swayman's deal is 1 year, 3.475. Oh, the Wild re-signed Gustafsson to a 3-year deal worth $11.25 million.
Okay.
Which, that's pretty good.
That's actually pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. And then, let me see here. The Ottawa Senators would wind up with Tarasenko now. Mm-hmm. And the Coyotes and McBain agreed to a deal to avoid arbitration. And Logan Cooley is not returning for his next year of hockey at the University of Minnesota. He is going to join the Coyotes organization this year After previously stating he was probably going to go back to school, something changed, and he decided
must have convinced him one way or another. Yeah,
he's going to the NHL now.
They must have convinced him. I don't know.
Or he changed his mind, or he and his family sat down and had a talk. I don't know. But
or something changed at Minnesota where he went, nope.
there could be that too, or financial situations changed.
Exactly.
Which
I was going to say any one of those
happen.
things can be very obvious.
Yeah. Anything like that is very, very, very potential. All right. NBA news. Okay, we've got a couple of pieces of NBA. I think that's most of the NHL news we missed.
That's a lot of the big ones. Yeah.
That's a lot of the big ones. We probably missed some granular crap, but
yeah.
I mean, not much else to talk about there. The big stuff in the NBA. So as of today, Davis and the Lakers have reached a $186 million extension that runs through 2028. That's big.
That is big.
The Hornets finally have new owners after the MJ sale was finalized.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was also pretty good.
Good.
Now, what I'm going to say now is there was also Boston signed one of their key players to a max extension. It's a big one. I can't remember how much it is, but it's really, really big. Like $200 million or something. Maybe more. Let's see if I can find it in here. Jaylen Brown. $304 million. And he has said that he plans to invest back into the city of Boston itself with that money. And then the other news, Bronny James, LeBron James's son, suffered a heart attack at USC.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I remember hearing about that now.
Yeah. He's apparently fine. Everything is okay. But nobody, there's been no, they've been mum on what the potential reason for it was. There's been a lot of theories that it could be stress because he's supposed to be a big-time number one person and big-time player and recruit at USC.
Yeah.
There could be a lot of stress and pressure on him. But apparently, a couple of days after he had the heart attack, he was out playing the piano somewhere. So, we'll have to see.
I mean,
he's healthy, he's happy, everything is going fine.
Hopefully he's not, like, has any heart conditions or anything, because that would be really bad.
Yeah, that would be, that. Like, if they suddenly found an underlying heart condition in him, and he had to stop playing basketball, like, I think he'd be devastated.
Probably, yeah. A lot of people would be, especially somebody who enjoys it. Like, he clearly enjoys it.
He clearly enjoys it, and his dad enjoys it, and I think his dad is really, really hoping for the day he can play with his kid. Because I think he wants to stick around in the NBA just long enough to play at least a season or two with his son.
Probably.
Yeah. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's what he wants to do, and we'll have to see how this all works out for Bronny and LeBron. We're hoping. We wish them all a speedy recovery. We wish them all the best. Giannis's brother has signed back with the Bucks, so they're going to keep around the Greek Freak's brother.
I mean, I would have been shocked if they didn't. To be honest.
I would have been very shocked if they didn't. There were a lot of movements. I can't keep up with them all. Bradley Beal is a Phoenix Sun now. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of moves that happened. I believe, if I'm right now, Chris Paul is with the Golden State Warriors now? Because he was initially traded to the Wizards as part of the Beal deal, and then they turned and flipped him to someone else. And I want to say it was Golden State.
It sounds right.
Which means he could potentially finally get his ring.
Yeah, I mean that sounds right. Hold on, I'm just gonna double check to make sure. But that sounds right. Let's see here.
Sounds right to me too. But who knows if they'll flip him again to somewhere else.
Right.
I don't think they will.
Know. You would hope not. Yep, Golden State Warriors.
Oh, you want to also know the funny
You're
thing
correct, by the way.
I just learned.
Hmm?
Because I never knew this before. And I'm sure other people didn't. You're going to laugh at me.
Okay.
Klay Thompson. Right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the Splash Brothers. His father is Michael Sweetbells Thompson.
Okay.
Who was the #1 overall pick the year Larry Bird was drafted.
It's kind of interesting, actually, in some ways.
Yeah. I didn't know that because I watched a video recently on what happened to all the picks before Larry Bird.
Yeah.
How did they all play out?
I've watched some highlights of Larry Bird in the last couple of weeks, and I was just, dang, I forgot how good that guy was. That guy was a beast.
One of the guys, it's funny. One of the guys who was drafted, I think he was drafted 3rd overall, because Bird was 6th. They drafted 3rd overall. He wound up being traded to the Celtics and played a huge chunk of his career with Larry.
Might as well.
Hey, can't beat him, join him. He was the backup center for them for a little while.
Okay.
And Thompson actually won. He won a couple of. At least one championship. Might have been more with the Showtime Lakers.
I thought they won 2.
Well, I know they won at least 2 or 3, but I don't know if he was with the team the whole time.
I know, that's what I'm trying to remember in my mind, and it might be 2, but it's not all 3.
And after he retired, he became the voice of the Lakers.
Yeah.
He was actually a broadcaster for them.
Yep,
so
I'm pretty sure my mind is
it's
thinking
2 or
2,
3.
but
he won
I'm
a couple
too far
of them.
out that my brain's
Yeah, no. So that's kind of the NBA news. As I know it, Damian Lillard still hasn't been anywhere. It's entirely possible he's going to start his next season as a Trailblazer, and they'll trade him in the season somewhere because apparently, like I said, the team owners and the GM and everything, they want to make the trade happen, but they want it to make business sense.
Yeah.
So I can kind of get that. All right. Now for the big one. NFL news.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
It's a lot.
Oh, my
goodness. A lot that happened. A lot that's happened, and a lot that still hasn't happened.
A lot that has happened, a lot that hasn't happened, a lot of other things that have happened. Where do we want to start? You know what? I want to start with the craziest story.
All right, go ahead.
Jim Irsay.
That old crotchety bastard.
Because
that's what he is. He's an old crotchety bastard that somehow always puts a smile on his face. Like, I don't know how he does this.
He's fucking bananas, and everybody knows it. Not like
I love him and I hate him at the same time.
Oh yes, absolutely. I love him and I hate him. He is amusing to watch, but he has turned the Colts into a dumpster fire.
He's had moments with the Colts, and then like right now, they could be in a good moment. We gotta wait and see, but could be. But then what he just did, and you go, Jimmy, like don't piss off your talent.
So for those of you that don't know what's going on, there is an impasse between Taylor and Irsay. Taylor still has another year on his deal, so he's going to have to play on that. But he wants an extension.
Or lose out on a lot of money.
And if he doesn't play, they can roll
Can't they fine him too, right?
They can fine him, and they can roll that year of service over so that he still has to play it.
I didn't hear about that. Okay.
Yeah, they could, because
then.
he's young enough before his first franchising tag. They would roll that year over.
Okay, gotcha.
If he doesn't play a certain amount of games, he'd roll over. So he either has to sit out a long time and hope they trade him, or he has to play this year and then refuse to sign the tender and do what Brandon Jacobs is doing, which is hold out.
I think the smart thing for him to do would be to honestly play the best year you can and go, all right, time to hold out now.
Yeah, secure the bag. Let's literally, you have to secure the bag at this point.
Because remember, he was gone quite a bit last year, so you gotta.
Yeah,
this is the prove
you have to prove that you're not injured, injury prone. Now,
prove it a year.
What I will say to Jim Irsay,
don't piss off your talent, bro.
Don't piss off your talent. You really need
that guy, man.
You need Jonathan Taylor there. Now, here, out of all of the running backs that were holding out or doing anything to see who the most to see where they could help the most, it is Jonathan Taylor in the Colts with a rookie quarterback that you think could be your next transcendent quarterback.
Exactly.
Okay?
Because all I can think of is, like, remember, Dalvin Cook's still available. There's other running backs, Zeke Elliott. I promise you, if JT had hit the market this year, he would have been gone already. Somebody would have picked him up already.
Absolutely. No, there would not
so
be any
that
question.
alone, and that doesn't mean that Dalvin Cook or Zeke are not good to play still. It just tells you how good JT is right now, and where he's in his prime still. Like, you got to lock that down. You piss off that guy, and he walks, you're gonna have a bad time replacing him because that's a hard thing to replace. It's a really good running back.
And as somebody pointed it out, most of the time when a young talent comes up and it's their second contract, they reset the market for what people should earn, what the market value is. But this last crop of backs didn't get offered appropriately, and they're flattening the market. Owners are flattening the running back market because running backs are generally, they have a short shelf life, maybe 4 to 5 years before their bodies just can't take it anymore, or at least that's what people would have you believe, because defensemen have gotten so much bigger and so much faster that the running backs just can't pound the rock the way they used to. So, in all honesty,
there's a certain amount of truth in that, but there's definitely outliers. There's definitely people who fall outside that boundary.
There is, but let's talk, like, maybe that's why the Falcons, as much as we lampooned them for it, maybe that's why they went and got the big running back out of Texas. It's because you did have Algiers, but now you have somebody he can split the load with, even after Patterson maybe retires, because he is starting to get a little long in the tooth, let's be honest. But now you've got two guys, Bijan Robinson and Tyson Algiers, who can split carries, which means maybe you can make both of them last longer.
Well, there's that. But I think, thinking back on it, like, I was upset because I was thinking that they were going to move off Algiers, which they didn't, which, thankfully, that isn't the problem. But now, looking at what they're doing and what it sounds like they're doing as far as camp goes, and I think this is what the running backs are going to become, is that they're using both running backs in a system where one can possibly take the ball in a handoff, but the other one's lining up in more of a way as like almost a wide receiver. Not
or
quite,
you could,
but in a similar...
Or you could use a twin eye set, a split eye,
exactly.
And you could motion one of them out into a wide receiver slot.
Exactly. And so it seems like what they're kind of doing with both Algiers and Bijan is they're acting as dual threats where they both can catch the ball and run the ball.
Like wingbacks.
And exactly. And if you think about it, JT also is kind of one of those guys who's known for having good hands and being able to catch the ball as well. So I'm honestly, like, looking at it, I think that's the direction running backs are going, is that they're going to be expected to become a multi-purpose tool, not just somebody who's just picking up the ball all the time, which means if you want to have a multi-purpose tool, it's good to have 2 to 3 multi-purpose tools that can do that same thing. So in actuality, I think you're right that it's a combination of let's remove the stress and load off of having one star back, and also change it so that they're not always expected to run the ball, so that they can do other things and maybe not take as much punishment at the same time.
Okay.
So, I agree. But I think that's where running backs are gonna go. They might even, I don't know if they'll ever change the name, like running backs, or like change the position name or call it something else, but they're definitely going to be more like flex backs almost in a way.
Because they've been called running back, half backs, eye backs, power backs.
Yep, exactly. So that's where I see it going over the next couple of years, and it makes sense.
It does to me too. Because gone are the days of the big, and we've said this before, gone are the days of the Eddie George big back that makes his own hole.
Yeah, even and gone are the days for even Adrian Peterson, who like if you even give him a small hole, he was gone. You just don't see that.
The only guy
anymore.
that's like that anymore is Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and it's only because that guy's a freak of freaking nature. And only a couple of those guys are going to ever really exist at any one time. So outside of that, that means you have to then make it work with what you have, and having more flex options makes more sense.
But back in the day, there were a bunch of guys like that who were just... They were looking for contact, and they were going to run you over. Barry Sanders was the freak of nature. The
where he
small
was
the
doing
small
something
guy who would
super
jump
elusive,
cut, super elusive. Most of the guys were guys that were like Stephen Davis and Sean Alexander and Eddie George.
The Fridge.
The Fridge was actually a defensive tackle. But
I know, but they gave him the ball once in a while, and it was really funny.
Oh, it was always hilarious.
And so every time I just think of the Fridge, and I'm just like, I know he doesn't count, but it's still funny. Because he played that exact way of, I'm just going to run forward.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to stop him. You're just not. I'm sorry. If he needs a yard, he's getting that yard.
Exactly. So, that's something, my dude, you've pissed off one of your premier talents, or say, we understand that the running back position is changing, but you really, if there was one team that really needed to come to an agreement with their running back, it is the Colts.
Yeah, because, who's their backup?
Yeah.
Because if you remember, last year wasn't so good without JT, was it?
Yeah, and their backup, guess what happened to their backup?
Did he get injured again?
Zach Moss. Broke his arm.
Oh, yeah, he broke his arm, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
So maybe you need to walk some of that back, Jimmy, and make a phone call. Or two.
I'm not saying you have to, I'm not saying you have to go crazy and bow down to JT, but you should at least come eye to eye and
if
go,
there was
okay.
if there was one team that needed to kind of overpay a little bit for a running back, it's
exactly.
It's the Colts.
So
let's be honest.
We'll see. If JT plays well, I imagine if Jim is smart, after a couple of games, they'll go into extension talks and be more willing to move. But yeah, hopefully Jim doesn't shoot himself in the foot too hard. if I'm just hoping for the coaching staff to be able to kind of smooth that out, to be honest with you, because they're the ones that have to do it.
Yep. So, talking about running backs, New York signed theirs. Saquon Barkley and the Giants have come to a 1-year deal. So he's not playing on the tag. I believe it actually does put him, if he reaches all the incentives, it would put him over what the tag would pay.
Yep, and if I remember right, he wasn't even asking for anything crazy, and he's getting what was it, 13 or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Or like 13 or 14 instead of 10.
Yeah.
Or up to that amount with incentives.
Yeah. And he wasn't even asking for that. And honestly, from what I heard from the last interview he did, he's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I was asking for. And the fact that they were dragging their heels on this makes no sense. He's like, I wasn't asking for 18. I wasn't
Yeah, but he was asking for it over long term, and they're worried long term because of injury history. He's missed 2 seasons due to injury, so they want to make sure that he's good to go. So this is the year where, okay, you don't get injured, you have another year like last year, we'll talk long-term deal.
Yeah, and I thought it was just funny how, he did that whole interview and be like, yeah, I'm not even asking for 18 1 year, I'm just asking for, 13. And then less than a week after that came out, oh, look, the Giants are signing him for that 1 year. I hate to say it, but it felt like he had them under the scope. He knew exactly what he was doing. He pulled the trigger to get pressure on the organization because he knew that he wasn't being unreasonable. And then the organization went, bad publicity, maybe we should just cave.
Yep. On the other side of things, Josh Jacobs has left Las Vegas, and as far as I know, still hasn't returned.
The last I heard was Mr. Snake just saying, yeah, we hope to see him back. Which means dick all. I hate to say it, that means that both GM, coach, owners, as far as I can tell, not a single one of them has any clue of what's going on with Josh Jacobs. They probably do, but they're keeping real damn quiet about it.
They're not telling anybody.
Which means it ain't good. He ain't coming back, I guess, I think, guys. I honestly don't think he's coming back.
No, he's not going to play on the tag. I think he sits this year.
I honestly think he sits, which I don't think, to be honest, I don't think it's the correct move, but I can understand why he would do it.
Oh, if he doesn't do what Le'Veon does, and he actually works out, and he trains, and he keeps himself in shape, I think it'll be fine.
It's just, I agree. It's just, It just leaves that much room for error, though. So that's the only concern I'd have, right? Like
Yeah.
if you, yeah, as long as he sticks with it, you're right. Like he'll be fine. But
I do get where you're coming from and where he's coming from and where they're coming from. I get the whole scenario.
I mean, that's the other thing. Is like I can totally understand where he's coming from too. So it's like I'm in that weird place of like you'd rather play because then you got tape, and tape will always look better than workout tape. Like it just is.
Now we talk about New Orleans.
Well, they just did their extension.
Not the extension.
I know, but they did that too. They have Kamara.
Kamara, that's what I was thinking of.
Yep.
Alvin Kamara is going to be suspended for 3 games for that fight in Las Vegas, along with a guy from the Colts, Lemon?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's suspended for 3 games.
Yep.
Kind of knew that was coming.
And then they extended Cameron Jordan 2-year, $27.5 million. So
that's kind of
a good move for them.
Yeah, that's a good move
for their edge. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge for a good edge. Speaking of edges, real quick, that got signed, Yannick Ngakoue.
To the Bears.
God damn.
Well, I mean, to be fair, high-powered defense, high-powered offense, it might be interesting.
The Bears are going to be fun. I think they're starting to get good.
They don't have as good of an offense, but they have a great defense for the looks of things.
And more, and if Fields takes the next couple of steps to throw the ball, and oh my God, I do not.
Yeah. Like, we don't know for sure if how good that offense is going to look, but that defense on paper is looking real scary. Oh, and then of course there's always the news coming out of Packers camp, which I don't know how much you can always trust it, but the news out of Packers camp is, according to everyone that's played with Jordan Love, is that he looks like another Aaron Rodgers, is what everyone's saying. Everyone's saying how it looks like they. I know, but according to people that have been at the camps and watched him, they're saying that it looks like there is not a single lost step between the two, and that's a little scary of a thought if that's even remotely true.
Well,
even if he's half that, that's still scary.
It's one thing to do it in camp and preseason. It'll be another thing entirely to do it regular season. So we have to
I agree with that.
And see. We'll also state and point out there, coming out of Patriots camp, is that, well, the Beast, Feed Zeke, has visited the Patriots.
Which is interesting because I heard people hyping up their running back to have a big second
Ramondre
year
Stevenson, yeah.
Yeah. So it feels a little weird, but again, if you're going off the aspect of if they're going to try to do this like triple back system where some of them are taking passes and stuff, the thing is Zeke, I hate to say it, from what I've seen, doesn't have good hands for catching the ball. I see him drop a lot of passes.
What I'm also thinking, though, is that, if anything is important, you better have a spare. 1 is none, 2 is 1.
True. I agree with that part. Especially, like, Stevenson didn't, as far as I remember, didn't have any really issues last year, but if you're going to bring Zeke, you're going to want to make sure that and you're going to definitely want a third back just in case.
Well, speaking of older people that got a contract, DeAndre Hopkins is now a Tennessee Titan.
Which, like, that takes the Tennessee Titans from being a middling team to, like, okay, like, maybe a wild card playoff spot,
Yeah, maybe
like,
you got
this could work. Here. Tannehill just has to be good enough to throw to Hopkins. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they got that other kid, Burks? Is it Burks?
Traylon Burks.
Traylon Burks. Like,
Do you think
what
can he learn from Hopkins?
Yeah, that could be a real dangerous combo. I'm not saying. Like, you don't have to be an amazing quarterback, and Tannehill definitely isn't. You just have to be good enough. Those guys will go get him. So
again, speaking of people that don't have a job.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to talk about Dalvin Cook, and maybe why he doesn't have a job.
Yes.
Because he has some odd legal issues.
Yeah.
Look,
we could detail it, but it honestly would take way too long.
It would. So suffice it to say, it is a he said, she said. The she said in this case has already got a previous conviction for stabbing her husband or boyfriend?
Ex-husband, yeah.
Ex-husband? Yeah.
Ex-husband, yeah.
And it all boils down to whether or not she entered Dalvin's property with his permission or with a stolen key and was not invited there.
Yes.
Because they were in the process of breaking up. And she already has a history of not taking that well.
Exactly. So I agree with you. And that's going to be a hard way either way it goes. That's going to be a hard thing to prove. She said either way, to be honest.
It is.
Which is why I can understand he's trying to settle out of court.
Yeah, he has attempted to settle out of court. The lawyers have contacted her and offered her money if she would dismiss her lawsuit and then write the legal letter saying that everything is okay.
Basically to the NFL so that the NFL can't suspend him for anything.
Yeah.
They basically just wanted a letter of her just going, there's no blame lies on either party kind of thing.
Yeah. That has not happened. She has not agreed to anything.
She should have taken the money. I don't know why.
Because she wants more money and she thinks she can get it more in court, and she won't.
No, she'll probably get less, to be honest.
She probably might not get anything. In fact, the court may find her the one that might dismiss her lawsuit outright.
Yeah, it could just outright, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's...
I don't know how it's going to go, but we definitely needed to bring that up because Cook is a very good player still, and I think that his legal troubles are preventing him from currently working or getting a contract, which if you're trying to get money from a dude, maybe don't prevent him from working.
On top of that, if he can prove also in court that he is getting restricted because of this, he could countersue.
Absolutely. And you could wind up, out.
Out. For
that whole thing is just a pile of weird.
Yeah. I feel bad for him because he's still a good player. He should get signed. Honestly, he should go to the Dolphins on a 1-year deal. It just makes sense in my brain.
It does.
They need a good running back. If he does a 1-year deal instead of a long term, he can prove that he can still play and play well, and hopefully deal with the legal issues, right? And then by the time the 1 year is done, he can sign the big extension, right? That's how I think he should play it. But at the same time, it sounds like that's not what they're doing. He wants a big multi-year deal, and I just don't think he's gonna get it. Honestly, I feel bad to say that, but I just don't think he's gonna get it.
Now we need to talk about... I think we need to talk about training camps and injuries. Because, good Lord...
Oh my God! Injuries up the wazoo!
Good Lord, man. So, Joe Burrow, calf strain. They actually did have to put out a tweet. Stop offering us your calves. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah,
which I think is just them being goofy. But...
It is. Heck, I could see him saying that, to be honest. So from my understanding, it could be one of those injuries that could permeate for a long time, but it also sounds like something that isn't likely to have a long-term issue.
Yeah,
depending on what it is.
If you rest it, you might be able to get out quicker.
Yeah, within a couple weeks.
Yeah, but it could also be something that hangs around for a month or two.
A lot of people are saying that he should be, according to what I've seen, most people are saying that by start of season should be pretty much good to go.
My understanding is he should be ready to go week 1, and if not by week 1, then week 2 at the very
least.
Week 2,
yeah, exactly.
So that's my understanding. We'll have to see how that works out. Now, Jalen Rose. Or not Jalen Rose.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Rose is a basketball player. Jalen Ramsey has to have surgery on his knee. He's probably out until December.
Yeah, if I remember right, he ran full speed right into Tyreek Hill, in fact. If I remember right.
Right into Chief.
Tyreek came out completely fine. Jalen, broken leg. I think we know who's the better player.
Blew out his knee or something. Tore a meniscus or something.
Yeah, I think he tore his meniscus, yeah.
Yeah. Tore a meniscus, he's out.
Yeah, he's pretty much done from the sound of it until December, though the current reports coming out of Miami is that he's trying to come back for November, which would be very unusual unless his meniscus wasn't that poorly teared.
Or unless he's John Cena.
True.
who's just a freak of nature when it comes to healing.
Or Cody Rhodes, if you've seen the recent pictures where he had tore his freaking pec muscle and still did that freaking cage match. Like, that guy's nuts.
Well, and the reason he did that is because you can't hurt it any worse.
No, but it still hurt like the entire time.
Yeah, he was probably hopped up on something, but...
Oh, he was hopped up on all the painkillers. He had to have been.
Yeah. But I'm
still
talking
a good show, though. One of the best he's done, which is nuts.
John Cena tore his pec and was expected to be out like 8 months and came back in like 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was like half the time. Like,
yeah. But, you know, you never know. I think he's out until December. Most people seem to think he's out until December.
Like, he could come back near the end of November at best, in my mind.
Jeff Okuda from the Falcons, he's having an MRI on his ankle.
Doesn't sound good.
Yeah. We already talked about Zach Moss, who broke his arm. He's going to be out. The Vikings lost the DT to an ACL injury. He's out. Is his name Tim Patrick from the Broncos? The wide receiver?
I don't know if it's Tim. I know it's Patrick. I just don't know if it's Tim.
Patrick. From their wide receiver who lost last year with a blown left ACL, blew his right ACL.
Good job, my guy. Apparently, your ACLs really hate you.
I don't know what else to say about that.
I honestly, like, that's going to be really... having both of them and still try to come back and be the player that he was, like, that's going to be tough. That's going to be so tough. I feel bad for the guy, to be honest. That's real tough.
Yeah, they're telling you something. The world is telling you something, my man. The world is telling you something. So remember all those rumors that they were going to trade one of their 2 starting receivers? Or maybe both of them? I bet you they're glad they didn't.
Oh, yeah. I bet they're, like, going... Oh, God, why? Because if I remember, they have a lot of other injuries, too, don't they?
I believe they do have a couple more, yeah.
Yeah. And one of the few that's had, like, a couple major ones in there. Everyone's just like, God, maybe the Broncos isn't this year. Maybe let's ride. Let's not even start it. Let's just not even.
Apparently, at Raiders camp, Max Crosby got into it with Jimmy G.
Yeah, though it sounds like it wasn't that big of an altercation. It was just general QB wide receiver, not
Max Crosby. He did
the defensive end. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why was I thinking of? I was thinking about somebody else on their offense for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. I mean, that's an easy one, right? Like, especially if they're practicing. It's a bit of a kerfluffle. Like, Jimmy probably got upset because he got hit too hard or got touched when he wasn't supposed to, and he's like, and then the other guy's like, oh, shit.
And then Sonny Michel retired. Rams running back.
Yep.
2-time. He's a Super Bowl champion. 2-time Super Bowl champion?
I think only one.
Just one. But he only played for them for 5 seasons.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Call it quits. I'm not going to blame him for it.
Maybe he won a Super Bowl with another team. I think he did win 2.
He might have, but
I think he won 2 of them. Because I think he won one with the Patriots.
Was he with the Patriots?
I believe so.
Okay, well then he likely did then. Maybe the first year he was there with them, maybe?
Let's find out. Yeah, he was with the Patriots, certainly. Yep. He won Super Bowl, what is it, 53? L-I-I-I?
I'm pretty sure that's 53, yeah.
Yeah, 53. I think L is 50. And then,
I'm pretty sure L is 50.
And then he won Super Bowl 56 with the Chargers. Or not the Chargers, the Rams. And he's also played for the Chargers.
Okay, fair enough. Well, like I said, he's been around. He got 2 Super Bowls. I mean,
played from 2018 to, and then he retired with the Rams in 2023.
Like that's a pretty good career for that span of time. And honestly, like, if you're not too banged up, it's a good time to leave football in some ways for you if you're a running back, right? Like, he's not too banged up.
He's only 28.
Just peace out. You got a lot of good money.
Yeah, he only rushed for 3,000 yards in his career, but I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need more than that. You have 2 Super Bowl rings, so
Yeah.
I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do
Exactly.
I'm gonna go do other
Go
things.
do something else. Now, I hope he does something good with his money. I hope
I do
he
too. I
starts
hope
a
he does something
business
good with
or
his
does
life
something,
and his money and everything else. And I
Yeah.
wish him all the best.
And I hope he can spend time with. I assume he's got a family. I hope he spends good time with his family, whatever
And-
that consists of.
Yeah, and then talking about the Jets real quick. There's a couple of things we have to talk about with the Jets. I think.
I'm actually. I have a lot of things I want to say about the Jets, to be honest.
So the first thing I want to say, there's like 3 stories about the Jets. We're gonna get to 2, and then the third one is the game. But the first one is Zach Wilson was actually listening to Aaron Rodgers. This is the same Zach Wilson who said, they better not bring a veteran QB in here. I'm going to make that guy's life hell. And then they got Aaron Rodgers, and he immediately started going, oh, Daddy Aaron. And it turns out that he is an Aaron Rodgers fan. He grew up watching him. Big fan of his. So that makes sense. But, I just find it funny that he pretty much instantly walked back what he said.
I mean, like I said, he kind of had to, because like you want to look good for your organization, 1, and 2, like you said, like it's probably the one veteran QB who would probably be like, all right, fair enough. Like you can't be really mad about Aaron Rodgers replacing you. Like
and I think if you're Zach Wilson, take a couple of short-term deals while learning under Aaron for however long Aaron plays, and then so what I would do, I think Aaron's definitely, he's already said he wants at least 2 years. So this year and next year.
Yeah.
And then we'll
sounds
see.
Like even possibly sounds
beyond
like
that.
Like
and now
5.
if he doesn't, if he retires after that, like say he wins 2 Super Bowls and he's like, okay, I'm good, I'm gonna ride off.
I'm done now.
Then you get a 1-year deal, because that'll be the end of your rookie contract. Because they can pick up your player option for the 5th year, and then take a 1-year deal with them, and it's a prove it deal. How much did you learn under Aaron?
Exactly.
And then you can do what Brett, Aaron can do for you what Brett failed to do for him, or what he failed to do for Jordan Love, because
that's one thing we gotta still talk. One thing we talked about where that maybe he actually did help a little bit, but I know what you mean.
Yes,
he didn't mentor him really.
Yeah, no, but it does look like he's trying to mentor Zach.
Yes,
and it could be because Zach asked him to, and Zach is...
I think that's the difference, right? I was gonna say, I think the difference is that, so with the Jordan Love thing, right? You have to remember that was, he took that as an insult from Green Bay, basically drafting him as high as they did, and that's why he wanted nothing to do with him. Like if they would have drafted him later or something else, like I think maybe it'd have been okay, but everyone kept talking about how this was gonna be his replacement, and so like, I can see how that rubbed him the wrong way, and how Jordan might not have had the want to even approach Rodgers in that situation, because then that could have turned sour very quick.
Yeah.
So, but the difference is now Rodgers is coming into the Jets where Zach's already been, and so I can imagine it's easier for Zach to just talk to Aaron and just be like, hey, is it cool if I watch you? Is it cool if I learn a little bit from you, if I ask you a couple questions? It's a lot, it's more approachable in that situation. So I don't know if I necessarily blame the situation with Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers on either party. Honestly, it was Green Bay's fault in the way they handled that situation. But I think this is going to be interesting. This will be good for Zach. If it actually comes out to be anything, we don't know. But I think that this is the most positive solution for both Rodgers and Zach, to be honest. Like, everything I've heard from Rodgers in the Jets organization and from players that play with him and everything, like, it sounds like everything is just peaches and daisies, which is frankly terrifying. If you like, because Aaron Rodgers has never been that happy in the Green Bay organization, except for maybe the first couple years.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Everyone's saying that this is a rejuvenated Aaron Rodgers, like, from his early years. Everyone keeps saying it. If that's true, you're getting MVP caliber Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be very frightening for anyone who has.
Because I think the last couple of years he just stopped giving a duck.
Well, remember, like, just 2 years ago he won MVP 2 years in a row.
Yeah, But you could see
like he's still clearly there.
That first game of this season when he got shellacked, he just like. And
I
then
think
last season,
I think last year he
was just like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like the what was it, 20? I think it was 2020 and 2021 is the years that he won the back-to-back MVPs. Like that's just 2 years removed. That's not even that long ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And people are calling him washed. I can't believe it. People are saying he's washed. 2 years ago. Come on, guys. The guy still has it in him. Last year, you saw what he had to work with. It was shit.
Now he's got good receivers and everything else. This is going to be
He's
dangerous.
got an O-line. This is going to be dangerous.
Yes. Now, one of the other things I do want to bring up, well, already drama.
Where at?
Denver and New York.
Oh. Right. Sean Payton.
Sean Payton.
I love Sean Payton, but because the thing is, it's so unique to have this perspective from Sean Payton because he was so known as in the Saints organization as somebody who was very good at keeping his mouth and being tight-lipped about things. And so it's very fun to see that he goes to the Broncos and little loose lip there, bud. Like,
immediately started shellacking Hackett for how the
Denver.
organization got left.
Like, he didn't select just Nathaniel Hackett. He selected the Denver's ownership and the GM. It was like, Sean, that's the guys you work for, my guy. Like,
and then Aaron Rodgers came out less than 24 hours later and was just like, he needs to keep his damn mouth shut.
Which, I mean, I can understand where Rodgers comes from. You defend your coaches. That's fine. Sean Payton really should have known better with that interview.
And the best part
really
was
lies
right
on
after
Sean
that.
Payton.
The best part was right after that. He just kind of he walked everything back.
Everything.
I'm
It just was like,
I'm sure his GM called him and goes, "Hey, are you sure you really want this job?"
I love the excuse he made too, being like, I had my Fox hat on. I was being a pundit. I wasn't like really thinking too hard. And it's like, Sean, you know better, man. You definitely
should
know better.
Come on, man.
The only thing I can think of is he walked into his office when he got the job and saw everything on fire and went, "Oh, this is so much worse than I thought it was."
And he just had to vent it out.
And unfortunately, like he did it with a journalist, which is you know you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Everything's on the record. I like, come on, man.
Even when they tell you it's off the record, it's on the record.
I mean, that's the one time where they're not supposed to announce who said it, but they can still like repeat
They'll
it.
still read it.
And
Everybody will know.
Yeah, everyone will know. They might not say it was Sean Payton that said this, but a lot of people will be like, "That looks like something Sean Payton would have said." Yeah, like that was one of those situations where I was like, "Oof, yeah." I mean, I know where you're coming from, Peyton. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but this is one of those times where you keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, you should really be quiet.
Poor guy. At least it sounds like it's mostly been cleared up and it's not too bad. But it'll be fun to see the teams eventually go up against each other and see if that really carries over, and that'll be fun.
That'll be interesting.
Does Aaron Rodgers shake Sean Payton's hand at the end of the game? Because Rodgers would be petty enough not to.
Rodgers would be petty enough not to.
So would Hackett, actually. I think Nathaniel Hackett wouldn't either. So that's what I'm looking forward to now. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. All right, you had brought up something else that you'd wanted to bring up.
Oh, so talking about the Jets in general, like, it's one of those interesting things, because I look at the Jets and everything I've been hearing and everything I'm seeing, and I'm going, this team is like a legit top contender, top team. And the amount of people that I'm reading not agreeing with that, or the amount of people who are saying Rodgers is washed, or how, like, the running back room has issues or something. Like, I'm so baffled, and all I can think of is just, what are they looking at? Like,
It's
New York City,
and people hate New York.
I was gonna say, I get it's New York, I get it's the Jets, I get it's Aaron Rodgers, but like, don't be shocked if the Jets get in easily into playoffs, potentially, potentially even pushing for a number one seed. And don't be shocked if they get to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, like I could see it. Maybe not this year, but they won't be far behind, in my opinion. Like they're right neck and neck with the top contenders in that division. Like they're neck and neck with the Bills. They're neck and neck with the Chargers. They're not that far behind the Chiefs. They're better than the Dolphins. I don't think anyone should be disregarding that. Like I think they're better than the Dolphins. They're neck and neck with the Bengals. They're better than the Steelers. Like they're gonna be a good team, and I just the only way they're not is if Aaron Rodgers gets injured or something like that. Like that's the only way that happens. I think they'll be a fun team to watch. I hate Aaron Rodgers, but I feel bad for the Jets. I just want them to have something nice for once. It's been a really long time for them, and I just feel bad for the Jets.
I agree. I feel bad for the Jets too, my man.
They just can't have nice things. Every time they get something nice, it breaks.
It breaks. So, Mekhi Becton was out on the field. He did pull himself early from the game. And one of the coaches said, because it was artificial turf, and he said, I want to be careful on the knee. It's been reconstructed and everything. And one of the coaches said, I still think that he's having a little bit of confidence issues with his knee, because they'd planned to play him about 10 or 15 more snaps than he actually took.
And to be fair, I don't blame him for that. Like that's a big thing to come back from and even attempt to come back and play. Like that's
So
I don't blame him for being a little wary of taking any shots to the knee.
I firmly agree. I will say that last night Zach Wilson had a beauty of a pass.
He had a couple actually, but that very early one was really nice.
That 57-yarder. Dude, he wound up and launched that sucker, and it landed perfectly where it was supposed to.
It was so funny because I saw that and immediately went, God damn it, Zach, you're making me like you again. Don't fucking do this to me, bro. And then 2 plays later, open wide receiver, overshoots the shit out of him. I'm like, yeah, that's the Zach Wilson I expect. He's back. All right.
But he could become really good.
He just needs to. He's almost got too much strength in his arm, to be honest. Like I think he needs a little bit more touch, a little bit more finesse.
And then
I think he'll be really good if he can do that. And Rodgers is good at that. So if he can learn that on Rodgers, I think he'll be really good.
The guy that impressed me that played last night was Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And you'll remember I talked about him in our draft review, and I said, be careful. I think that guy's got some talent. If he can find his accuracy, you could see a future starter there. And last night he was, what did I say, 8 of 11?
8 of 11.
8 of 11 for like
80-something
yards. 80-something yards and a touchdown, no interceptions, and 6 rushes for 36 yards.
Good start.
And way better than what Kellen Mond did.
Yeah. If I was the Browns, I would be going, I think we're going to start DTR next against the second stringers. It just happens.
I would
Can't be any worse than what Mond just showed me.
I would too. As much as I was kind of in on Mond for a little while, there's definitely he didn't learn. I don't think he progressed the way that he could have. So
something happened, and the thing is, from everything I've heard, is that he came from the Vikings. Obviously, we all know that. But I've heard that the Vikings quarterback coach and learning, I've heard is very good. So the fact that he the only reason he went to the Browns, is because it was Kevin Stefanski who brought him over. Right? Ex-Vikings coach, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But man, if the Browns are also really if Stefanski can't get anything out of Mond, I don't think anyone really is going to be able to. I think Mond is just a perennial bench warmer at this point, almost in some ways. Use them if you have to.
Now, there's a couple of more things I wanted to touch on before we get into looking at the upcoming slate of preseason games and trying to pick winners and losers, because that's going to be really hard. because we
it's,
don't
it's
know.
less about pick winners and losers. Like, we're gonna do that a little bit, but it's gonna be more about talking about
it's
going to
be more about talking about how we hope to see, who we hope to see
what
out
players,
there. What players do we hope that are going to be able to get out there and show us something? First off, word out of Tampa is that Trask is outperforming Mayfield.
I've heard that Mayfield is still definitely the number one starter there, but I've heard that Trask is putting on a true competition for them.
Yes.
Like, Trask is looking way better than people.
A lot of people are starting to say Trask is outperforming Mayfield and should take the start.
Yeah. Which I don't think it will happen, just because it's never a good idea to start. I just don't think it's a good idea.
No, he's not a rookie, but
he's not a rookie, but you know what I mean, though. He's definitely still early in his development. So I think it would make more sense to start Baker unless it gets bad enough where you're like, okay, throw on Trask. I think the longer you can let him develop and without getting too many shots is better for him.
This feels like last year's Washington Commanders.
Kinda, yeah. And honestly, I think that's another person I want to talk about, Sam Howell. Like, I've heard so many good things coming out of camp for that kid. Like, a lot of people are like, this kid's getting just shoved under the way. Everyone's talking about how he's just a bench warmer. He's just the guy they're gonna pick. Washington's gonna pick next year. They're gonna tank and they're gonna get Caleb next year.
No, I've heard that
I don't think so. I think from everyone what I'm saying, Washington likes him. Like, it sounds like he could be the guy.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
I firmly agree with that. There's actually a couple of more things. Just brought up another couple of things that I want to
Fair enough.
So I really like that. I think that he could be the future at quarterback for them. I think that that's going to be kind of where they want to go.
I want, and that's one thing I'm looking forward to in their preseason games is I want to see Sam. I know I have a very good feeling that they're not going to because most people aren't going to start their starting QBs. But I would still like to have seen him at least a quarter. I just want to see more of Sam play because the one game we saw of him, I was impressed, but it's a very small sample size, and I want to see more.
100%, I agree with you, and I want to see how Trask plays in the preseason. That might give us a better glimpse of that. Now, before we get to the last thing,
there's a lot of QBs I want to see this preseason, to be honest.
before we get to the last thing I want to talk about, and then we get into the other things. I want to talk about something that came out that was a meme that then blew up because McAfee got a hold of it.
Okay, I mean, I have feelings on that. I have a lot of feelings on that. We both probably have a lot of feelings on that.
I have a lot of feelings on that. So let's tell everybody what we're talking about. There was a meme that came out that compared Joe Burrow's stats, I believe it was from last year, to Kirk Cousins' stats.
Playoff stats, yeah.
From last year.
I think it was actually I think it was their entire playoffs, careers.
I don't think it was entire careers, but
it is. It's their playoffs. It's all their playoff games.
Whatever.
I just looked it up, sorry.
Point is, I actually did go and look a lot of things up. I wanted to see a lot of things about that.
Yeah, because the minute I saw that thing, I went, that's interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's very interesting. But let's look at the regular season, too, huh?
Let's not even just do that. If you just look at the playoffs, because somebody told me, because I said, well, you're talking about a kid that's been in the league 3 years, been to the playoffs twice, and made the Super Bowl once. Oh, and
almost twice.
Yeah, almost twice. He made the AFC Championship game the second time.
And honestly, I still think he should have won that game.
Versus a guy who's been in the league 10 years, a starter for 7 of them, and as a starter has been to the playoffs 3 times and has a record of 1-3.
Now, I will say, the stats they looked at for the memes is interesting, mostly if you look at the bottom 2, because that is a stark issue. What I'm referring to, for those who don't know, is that they're specifically at the bottom 2 are defensive plays. How many defensive turnovers have you had, and how many defensive stops? I think it was defensive stops or something like that. And in comparison, you had Joe Burrow, who had in his 3 years 13 turnovers in the playoffs by his defense, and Kirk had 0. it does matter. 13 turnovers is insane for a defense, especially for playoffs for over just 3 years.
Now, here's the thing that people were saying, because somebody said this to me, and I have feelings about this. Oh, yeah, well, Burrow's had a top 5 defense his entire... No, he hasn't.
Well, not his entire, but since he's been in the Bengals, he's had a good... Actually,
last year was the first time they were a top 10.
Yeah.
They were 17th
the first year they did.
The year they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, yeah.
They were the 17th in
fact,
points
I think
allowed.
most of those, if I remember right, most of those turnovers for the playoffs probably happened last year, to be honest, because they had a lot last year.
They had a lot last year, but the year before that, they didn't. And here's the thing. He got sacked quite a bit, and he just kept going.
He did. He got hit a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I give credit to Kirk. Kirk gets hit a lot, keeps going, too. So.
Yes, but the point is that out of that, one of those guys continued to play hard and push the ball downfield and try to put his team...
He had the mindset that he was going to win the game, right?
And I think that's the issue. So
I agree with what the meme sort of says, which is, if you really look at it from the heart of it, it isn't necessarily comparing Kirk Cousins to Joe Burrow and going, Kirk Cousins is better. Because if that's what you're getting out of it, you're an idiot. But what it's really doing is going, it's not entirely Kirk's fault. Like, there is other issues with that, and they're right. And
if that's what you're taking away, you are correct.
And it's also correct that it's also saying that Kirk is not as bad as people say, where they always are slagging and shitting on him at times. That's also true. But the truth is actually somewhere in the middle. He can be really good, and he can also be really bad. That's Kirk Cousins.
Most quarterbacks can, but their good and bad is a little bit higher than...
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. So if you compare Joe Burrow's good to his bad, we're talking like a slight difference. When we're talking Kirk Cousins, we have his good up here, and his down's off my fucking camera.
Yeah, no, and
it is what it is.
That's just kind of the point. And the problem is that in Vikings fandom, there are 2 Kirk camps. Mm-hmm. And it separates everybody into those 2. There aren't a lot of people us that are in the middle. There are Kirk truthers who Kirk Cousins should be MVP.
Our uncle, yes.
Yep.
And Uncle Jeff, by the way.
God, is that Uncle Jeff?
That's Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff, what is wrong with you?
Oh, don't start that argument, because he'll start yelling.
I know. And in there,
I love you, Jeff, but you're loud as hell, man.
We all are.
True. We are.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm going to spill this little family secret. If you get all of us in a room around a dinner table and we are eating, and we are within 5 feet or less of each other, by the end of the dinner, we are going to be screaming at the top of our lungs. Not because we are mad at each other, but because the more excited we get to talk about something, the louder we become. Mm-hmm. It is
everyone hates it.
Everyone hates it. My mother hates it.
Unless you're part of the family, everyone hates it.
My mother hates it. It is a familial trait. And I have had a lot of people, like, I'll be at GameStop and talking and just really exuberant, and somebody goes, shh, I'm right here. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was getting louder.
Yep.
Okay.
I get that a lot, too.
But then the other camp are the people that think Kirk Cousins is horrible and should go away forever. Mm-hmm. See, Chris and I fall into the middle camp. Here's my thing. Do I want the Vikings to get rid of Kirk Cousins? Not necessarily.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Do I want them to sign him to a contract that makes sense for his skill level? Yes.
If you're going to keep him, that's the way you do it.
That is the problem.
I think, and the thing is, I don't think he's necessarily even... at first I thought about it, and I thought he was like extremely overpaid, but after looking at the contracts a bit, he's overpaid, but not by a crazy amount.
No,
like, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
It's not like $5 million over. I would knock 1 or 2 off and call that even. Like if he's making 9, which I think is what he's making, isn't it?
I think so.
I would pay him 7.5. I'd say that's where he belongs.
Yeah, like Kirk Cousins in reality, even though I'll give him shit week to week if he has bad games, because I absolutely will. Kirk Cousins is the epitome of the gatekeeper of the top 10. He is. He's literally almost... I see this all the time with a lot of analysts. He is literally basically the 10th best, and he's always the gatekeeper, because if you can consistently be better than Kirk Cousins, then you're in the top 10.
Oh,
if you can't, you know?
My bad. He's $35 million.
Yeah.
Oh, he costs us $20 million against the cap this year.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in comparison to quarterbacks, like if you knocked 5 off of that, that's that would be more reasonable.
Yeah, that'd be 15.
Yeah.
So if you were to compare like just quarterback contracts,
Yeah. Especially recent contracts. Like if you look, I mean, it's depending on who you're looking at. It's not necessarily fair. But if you look at other QBs in the top 10, right?
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that you've got like the for some reason, statistical comparison wise, they're showing him up against Goff, Allen, Stafford, and Wilson.
I mean, recent Goff, I can kind of understand that, and even Stafford, I can kind of understand that. I can kind of understand that. Because like I said, he is the epitome of like the gatekeeper of the top 10. Like he just is. So I can kind of understand that. Because that's the other way you have to look at the contracts for Kirk Cousins too, which makes it so hard. Is you look at like the recent contracts, and you go, yeah, it makes sense that Lamar's going to get more. It makes sense that Patrick Mahomes is going to get more. It makes sense that Herbert is going to get more. So you have to try to look at who's comparable to Cousins on money, and the problem is because he's so perfectly that top 10 guy, you either have a huge drop off for players that are just not as good as Cousins, or you have that huge drop up where you have all of those players who are clearly better than Cousins.
So
finding his spot where he should get paid is actually kind of hard in some ways.
Yeah, they have him rated as the 6th QB, and he should be $43.2 million. No, because his stats say that's what he should be, but his overall leadership and win-loss don't say that. So you have to take that into his overall value as a player, and he's older. So
and he's older as well too.
Yeah,
he's in his mid-30s now, late mid-30s. I think he's 36, 37. He might be a little younger. He might be 34, 35. Okay,
35.
So it wasn't that far off. So yeah, mid-30s. So like, granted, QBs can last a while. He could still go another 5 years. Like it's not uncommon nowadays, especially with now if he gets a big injury that could cut that completely off. Obviously, I don't know, man. I want a succession for Kirk Cousins because the way I'm always going to see it is that he's never going to be good enough to drag you over that line to a Super Bowl. Like, with enough weapons around him, he can. But with the team we have now, if you can't do it with these guys, like, you're just not going to, right? Like, you have some of the best wide receiving talent right now. Like, one of the better tight ends. Like, you got a lot of good going for you. You've even improved on your defense.
Here's the thing. He has the 9th rated cap hit overall.
Yeah.
At $20.25 million. Then Stafford is right under him at $20 million. Deshaun is at $19.057 million.
Mm-hmm.
Josh is $18 million. Kyler Murray is $16 million. Mm-hmm. And then Joe Burrow at $11 million. So
Joe Burrow hasn't signed his extension yet. Yeah, that's going to be higher. We know that.
And then after that, Geno at 10.
Yeah. So here's where I would like. So I can understand him being around the Deshaun Watson area, just because Deshaun Watson still hasn't proved that he is that guy. But I could see him being closer to that area, right? Or slightly below it even.
Yeah.
Like I said, around the 15, 16 is where I was thinking.
Maybe 17, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere just above Kyler and just below Josh.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That would make sense for me.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and that's my biggest issue that I have with him is that he's like, it's not, and it feels petty. Like a lot of people are like, you're talking just very small numbers. We're talking millions, and we're also talking about money that's getting taken away for another player, right? Like,
yeah.
Just $5 million might not seem like that big of a difference until you realize, for most positions in the game, that's plenty to sign almost a dozen players, actually. Like, unless they're like bigger positions like wide receivers or running backs, like you can get a lot, especially on defense, for $5 million. Like, you really can't. So, I mean, clearing that space up for another player, another several players, like it does matter. It doesn't sound like five, just like I said, a small number, but in comparison to what you could get in value for other players, it really does matter. And so, it is one of those situations where I don't hate Kirk Cousins. I hate Kirk Cousins on this contract, and that's the way to put it. And it really is just that simple. Um, Performance-wise, he's lived up to what you'd expect, what you would want from him, but not for the contract.
I got to be honest that I also hate that people always point to stat, because I used to be one of these people. So this is kind of a bone of contention for me. Stats. I used to think math and stats and numbers were end all be all. You could, this is, here you go, here's proof, here's evidence.
Garbage numbers, man. Garbage
but what you don't understand is that, and I finally heard it from
context.
Statistician, numbers can be used to prove anything you want them to prove.
Yeah,
they really can. Context matters more than the numbers.
Yep, the context of the numbers is what matters.
Yes. So, because there are some people out there that have great numbers if you look at the numbers. And then you watch the game and you go, Jesus, how does he... Oh, garbage time. That's why...
Garbage time. Which a lot of people forget about. It does happen. Yeah, because, like, garbage time after, like, there are just some players, like, you go to the fourth quarter and you're like, why is he all of a sudden whipping the ball over the place and getting all these, like, touchdowns and shit? Why wasn't he doing this earlier?
Because there's no pressure on him anymore. He went in thinking he was going to lose, and he's losing. And so now he doesn't care. He's de-stressed, and he's just playing.
So, I'm going to be that guy, and people are going to bash on me probably for it if they actually watch this. That's one of my reasons that I've always had an issue with Dak. Because Dak always looks good when he's playing from behind. I hate to tell you, a lot of those games are quite often garbage stats. Now, don't get me wrong. He is still a good QB. He is definitely a top 10 QB, even arguably top 5 in some people's cases. I don't know if I'd push that quite that far, but I can see the argument. But his stats, if you look at just his stats, you'd be like, holy crap, this guy must be like right up there with Patrick Mahomes and like contending for... He's not. He's not that guy.
No,
and he never will be that guy.
No, and again, it's because he doesn't do well under the pressure. Once you remove the pressure and he can just be himself.
Follow it out, yeah.
Yeah, now he feels better.
He looks good. Yeah, he looks good at doing those times, but it's just, he's always trying, and he also starts trying to make that comeback, and he just, too often playing from behind. It just, whenever I see QBs do that, it scares me a little bit.
I also can't help but wonder if there isn't a little bit of trying to prove that I'm worth that contract still.
Yeah, that too. That's also a little bit worrying too. Because, I hate to say it, he wasn't. He still won't be. He just won't ever be.
No.
He's kind of like the Kirk Cousins, where he's getting overpaid just by, maybe not by that much, but he's definitely getting overpaid.
Yep. All right. Let's talk preseason.
Yes.
Oh, one last thing I did want to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I already brought it up to you, but I wanted to bring it up on the podcast.
Okay.
Not Baker Mayfield. Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. Johnny Manziel.
So they're doing a documentary on his life called Untold: The Story of Johnny Manziel. I guess it's a new series, the Untold series or something. They've been doing a lot of stuff.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah. So he has admitted that he attempted suicide. After his giant, like, $5 million bender that he went on, he said, I wanted to blow as much money as I could and do everything I wanted to do and just get in as much trouble as I could so I would have an excuse to look at it as an out. And he says he bought the gun actually months in advance, knowing this is what he wanted to do. He had everything planned, and when he went to pull the trigger, it clicked. It misfired. He has gotten better, and he's in therapy now and everything else, and I think he's back at home with his parents.
That's also why he's been trying to come back in football and playing like the Canada League, I believe he did for a bit.
CFL, yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah.
He's trying a little bit again because, yeah.
Turns out he actually really enjoyed it, but I think it was probably as a combination of he just got super pressured and all of the expectations, and then there was a lot of other
I think
issues he was
it's
dealing
because
with.
he exploded at A&M and just blew up onto the scene and beaten Alabama, and then all the pressure to replicate all of that. I think it just wore him down mentally.
Yeah, it wore him down, and who knows? He might have actually had other, like, he might have other mental issues that also affected that I don't know about.
Yep.
It's one of those situations where it's sad, and at the same time you can kind of like, especially when you look at the bender he did, you look at that and you go, man, that's really stupid, and at the same time you look at it and go, yeah, that does look like somebody who's just
Calling for help.
basically all, yeah, calling for help, but also somebody who's like clearly like just off the rails because something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm glad that he lived through it and he is able to figure out
yeah,
what's going on.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, if nothing else, I mean, in my mind, if nothing else, if everything goes well, I don't think he'll ever be the football guy again. Like, he'll play because he'll enjoy it, but I don't think he'll ever really make a big comeback. But potentially coaching, if he's in that, if he wants to go that way, potentially even just being like the guy that shows up at like high schools and does the talks
or talks to
like,
rookies.
because that can be important. Exactly, or talks to rookies. Those things can be important.
Yep. I firmly agree. Two little quick bits of news involving the NCAA. First off, Oregon and Washington have formally applied and will be accepted by the Big Ten unanimously. And at the same time, Arizona State and Utah are leaving the Pac-12. They have formally applied for membership in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pac-12 is about to cease to be a conference.
Pretty much. I mean, to be fair, I actually have been thinking that they should have been doing this for a while because the conferences as they are now, in my mind, are a bit confusing and stupid. Like, just narrow it down, make it a little simpler. There's a reason why the NFL's done it the way they have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you have to mimic it, but I'm saying, like, if you're gonna have the college football playoffs like you do, this is just a natural progression that makes sense in my mind.
I agree. Firmly agree. All right. So let's talk preseason. All right. We've already had one game. We talked about it. So, Texans, Patriots, Thursday night at 6 p.m.
I mean, listen, the big one there that everyone wants to talk about, everyone wants to see, is Stroud.
Yep.
I don't think he's gonna play. I don't even know if they'll play him, to be honest. They could. I'd be concerned because do you want to possibly injure him in a preseason game? You might not.
I don't think he plays this one. He'll probably play like
probably the last one if he does.
The next, maybe a series in this one, maybe a series or two in the next one, and then he'll play like a quarter in the third one.
It's definitely possible. I just don't be expecting much. I don't think we're probably going to see much of Stroud. But we could still see a lot of Will Anderson, and that would be interesting. Because I would like to see a quarter of Will Anderson. And we got a couple wide receivers that I think are going to be interesting to look at. As Tank Dell, yep. Again, he probably won't play a lot, but he'll probably play a couple snaps, I imagine.
I would hope so, but
at least a quarter is what I would suspect.
We don't know.
Patriots, though, like, is there anything I'm looking forward for the Patriots? Honestly, the Patriots are so milquetoast. I have no interest in them at all right now. Like, I can't think of anything interesting outside of maybe like just kind of seeing, because they're not going to play. I doubt they're going to play Mac Jones.
Probably not.
Unless they feel like.
But you would probably see either Trace McSorley, Bailey Zappi, or Malik Cunningham in that case.
Yeah, like,
I'm actually interested to see how they do with Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah. I don't think they'll use him much. They could do a quarter, I guess. They could play a quarter if they want to.
Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see how he plays out there. That'll be fun to watch, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. I'm just not excited for their team, though. That's the problem. I'm just not as the Patriots are now, I'm just not excited about them. They're just.
I mean, because the other guy that we really want to see how he's going to mix in is Juju.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to see that.
See him now. The other guy that we could see is Keishon Butte.
We could see Butte. Yeah. Again, though, for me, it's just not exciting for me. I don't know.
I kind of like him, and I want to see what he does.
I do, but I'm just not as excited about it as I am with the
I don't know who's going to win and who's going to lose on that one.
Don't care. Probably Texans, but not by much.
Yeah, but we're all excited for only one thing, and that's to see Stroud, and we probably won't get to see him.
Probably not much.
Hopefully get to see a little bit of Tank Dell. Hopefully get to see a little bit of Butte. Hopefully get to see... I'm probably mispronouncing that name. Great. I don't care. KB.
His name is kind of weird. Yeah.
Maybe see a little Gonzalez, and maybe I'd love to see Anderson Jr.
Yeah,
I'd love to see what he can do. All right. Then the next game is Vikings Seahawks at 9 p.m. on Thursday.
I'm really interested to see how our new QB holds up because I've heard a lot of good things, and I'm very interested to see him take a quarter.
I hope he gets at least a half.
I think they're going to give him a full quarter at least. I don't know the half, but they'll definitely give him a quarter.
I would like to see because I don't know who else. Nick Mullins. So I would like to see a half for Hall, at least a quarter for Hall, and then Mullins play out the game.
And of course, I would love to see Addison a little bit. Like I don't know how much he'll play, but at least a couple. I would like to see him
for at least a couple series.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And don't they? Did they get? They got a couple. I think. What was the? There was I think like one or two others that. On the defensive side of the ball, if I remember.
Yeah, they got like. There's a couple of other guys, but they've got a couple of.
Like there's that. Who's that one kid that went on the Army kid that got undrafted?
He's on PUP.
I will. Oh. Sad.
Yeah, they put him on PUP, but everybody kind of expected him to go on the PUP.
Yeah, it's
because he's going to go into the practice squad. And part of it is they want him to bulk out a little bit, and they want him to get some time to get everything together.
Yeah, I guess. I still would have liked to see him, though. That would have been nice.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well. Fair enough. Never mind.
Yep. Now, on the other side of things, I would like to see the running back that the Seahawks picked up in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Charbonnet.
Yep.
I want to see a little bit of him. I think that would be fun. I want to see if Drew Lock has gotten any better.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Because I heard that there was a true QB battle last year for that, so I'm kind of curious to see if he's continued to try to progress.
Yeah, and I really want to see some Jackson Smith and Njigba.
Oh, of course. I don't think we're going to see a lot of them, but
no, at least a series though.
Yeah,
I want to see. I want to see what he can do. Couple of catches in there. Doesn't need to be much. Yep. Just let me see what he's got, man.
Let me see what he's got left right now. What is he doing?
So I think that'll be fun. I think that's going to be a fun game. I still think the Vikings win it, but I think the Seahawks are going to get it. It's going to be close. Then Friday, Packers Bengals 6 p.m.
I'd be shocked if Jordan Love doesn't play at least a series.
I think he will.
Because everyone's talking about it. Like, they got to show it off at least a little, right?
Yep. I think they have to show off. I think they have to show him off just a little bit. Yeah. I mean, if only so that you can shut everybody else up.
Exactly. I just feel like so that's good. That's the talk there, right? It's like that. That I think that's really the big talk, which kind of feels bad saying that for the Packers, but that really is kind of the big talk for the Packers is Jordan Love actually going to be good?
That is a major question, and it's one that they have to kind of answer. I'm also excited to see what they do with Van Ness.
That's true, Luke Van Ness, yep.
And I want to see at least a series or two of Luke Musgrave at tight end.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of interested to see what he can do.
Now,
I don't know. I'll be interested.
On the other side, with the Bengals, we're obviously not going to see any of Burrow.
No, God, no, they're not.
So you're going to see
God,
probably
no.
Jake Browning and Trevor Siemian. And
Which I don't really have too much of a feelings one way or the other on that.
um, and then who you're going to see after that, I do not know yet.
Yeah.
And then I do not know who their running back is going to be yet. Uh,
Yeah, we have no idea on that.
Chase Brown, maybe?
Maybe.
Young rookie. Be fun to
Yeah.
see what he can do, what he's got in him. But the guy that I really want to watch in that particular game is Miles Murphy.
Yeah, Miles Murphy. Yeah.
I want to see him get like a quarter. I don't think he will. I think he'll only get a couple of series. But
Maybe half a quarter at most.
yeah, I want to watch him. I want to see what he can do because I think that he could go all day. And I'm
Probably.
excited to see just how much he just mows
Be interesting
over.
to see how they use him. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with him.
Yeah.
So, I still think Cincy's going to win that game, but
Probably.
again, I think most of these are going to be close. At the same time, Falcons, Dolphins.
There's a couple interesting things
We
about
all
that.
know who we're looking for in that game.
Honestly, I got a couple. I'm looking. Obviously, it's Bijan, which
Yeah,
we're probably only going to see a couple snaps of. To be honest
Yep.
with you, I really don't think he'll be out for
maybe a
very much.
series.
I'm hoping that they'll give Ritter a couple series as well because I want to see how he's continued to prove in the offseason because I've heard very good things about his offseason. So I would love to see it. I don't think they will.
No, I think they're going to mostly lean on Heineke.
Yeah, I would like to see Ritter at least come out and play early, but I don't think he will.
Yeah.
Miami, man, is there? I mean, basically their corners is the one thing I'm looking at for Miami. Really.
Because they did go out and they drafted Cam Smith. And yeah, it's mostly Cam Smith, and like we said, they didn't really do very well in the draft.
They did a lot of weird, like they're not like they had a lot to be fair.
Yeah, no, they didn't. But that also brings us back to Devon Akne, who's the rookie running back out of Texas A&M they got. And I'd like to see a little bit of him. I think that would be interesting. At the same time, they got Mike White and Skylar Thompson, and I'd like to see a good split between those two to see who the backup to two is going to be. Because if one or both of them performs extremely well, even Skylar, because he almost beat the Bills.
Skylar, remember, he looked decent enough.
So if he does really well this off, and impresses in the preseason and takes that backup spot, I could see there's a team that would make a play to potentially try to bring him in.
Maybe. I don't know if he'll ever be good enough to be anything more than a really good second stringer, but we'll see.
We'll see. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll probably take the Dolphins over the Falcons, but I am excited to watch Bijan. I am excited to see some of the other stuff.
I would take Falcons. I would take the Falcons on that one, actually, but not by much.
Same time, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay.
I mean, obviously Tampa is. If you don't get any Baker, it'll be interesting to see Trask.
It'll see
that's
Trask for a little
one.
bit because we're probably going to see a steady diet of Trask and Wolford.
Probably. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do at running back because
that's true. Yeah.
They've got Ronnie Brown, Chase Edmonds, Patrick Laird, and Sean Tucker, and Keyshawn Vaughn, and Rashad White.
Yeah, they got a lot.
Yeah. And Ronnie Brown now, he's a rookie.
Yep. That'll be interesting.
Yep. That'll be interesting.
I've heard good things about him.
We'll have to find out. I think we'll get to see a little bit of him. It'll also be interesting to see, I don't think they're going to play any of their major wide receivers, so I think
probably not.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much of
I'd
that
be surprised to see like Godwin or anything like that.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised to see any of that. I don't know who else that I really care about on their team that I want to see play that I think could be something special.
They might, but yeah.
On the Pittsburgh side of things,
Isn't it their corner right there? They got uh, that one corner that everyone's talking about, right?
I believe so. Yes.
God, what's his name? Ugh. I'll know it when I hear it. God dang it! Gosh. Because there was even news about it. Because like
Joey Porter
Joey
Jr.
Porter Jr. Yeah, Joey Porter Jr. That's the one guy who I want to see out of Pittsburgh. Like he's the guy that you expect is going to make big plays, and you want to see it.
Yep, I don't disagree with that. I'm also pretty excited to see. Let me see.
Not gonna lie, I'm very interested in their backup QB room too. Like it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I also want to see some Nick Herbig at linebacker. That'll be fun for me. And you've got obviously the backup QB room, and didn't they get? Yep. Let's see what Darnell Washington can do at tight end.
Yeah.
You've got Muth, but now you can put that in there. So, and then of course Broderick Jones, they brought in as a tackle, see if he can do anything, and I think it's going to be interesting because obviously Pickett is going to be the starter, but then you have to figure out Morgan, Rudolph, or Trubisky.
I'm just interested because I feel like Trubisky, ever since he's been there, has made good improvements under that leadership there, and so I'm a little excited to see that. Like I don't love Trubisky, but it'd be interesting to see if he could ever get back into the stride of what people were expecting of him, right?
Yeah.
Because he's got all the talent in the world, but for some reason he just can't unlock it when he needs to. And it'd be interesting to see if he can finally start showing more momentum in that front.
It would be a lot of fun, I think, if he could finally start unlocking some of the potential that he had, supposedly. I think we'll get to see some fun stuff out of that.
Oh yeah.
So, I that'll be a fun game to watch. I still think the Steelers are going to win that.
Probably. Yeah.
Also, that night, the 11th, 6 p.m., Detroit and New York, the Giants.
So Detroit, obviously, we've got the running back, right?
Yeah,
that's the big one.
Yep.
I don't know how much they're gonna play him, but we're gonna
Gibbs. I don't know
Gibbs,
how much they're gonna play him either.
That's a big one, obviously.
There's also Ibram out of Minnesota is the rookie running back. I think we'll see him a lot more.
Yep. And then what's their backup QB room looking like? Forget if they got somebody or not.
Hendon Hooker, Adrian Martinez,
yeah,
and
they got
Nate
Hooker.
Sudfeld.
That's what it was.
But so Hooker, I think, is still.
Is he still out?
Yeah, he's on the NFI.
Okay. Never mind then. Because I was gonna say that's the one that would have been also an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, but I don't even know if we'll see him this season. I think they're going to hold him out.
Maybe, but yeah, you're right.
He's at least starting training camp on the NFI list.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But that's going to be fun. And like I said, obviously a lot of people want to see that. I'm interested to see, because he was drafted so high, and I don't know what to make of him. No, it's not him. Who is that? Where is he?
I don't know. You tell me.
I
don't know, Ray.
I'm trying to find the guy.
No, you're good.
Nope. I don't think it's him. No, it's not him. I can't find him. Who's the linebacker? Didn't they draft a linebacker or an edge real high?
Well, I mean, they had Hutchinson last year.
From Iowa State.
I do remember a couple Iowa State guys. Let me see. We had Van Ness, which we already brought about, and then
because he went really. The guy went way high, and I went, "Who the hell is that?"
Didn't he go? He went before Van Ness, didn't he? No.
I think just after.
Yeah, it was a little after. Shoot.
I know they got Jack Campbell.
Yeah. Who's the other one? My brain is just Swiss cheese right now. Especially with, I should have done my research with trying to remember the people that were drafted. Gosh.
I don't even see him on here.
Yeah, you think I'd remember, but apparently not. Because my brain is awfully dumb. Because they got Campbell, which was a linebacker out of Iowa.
Did they get him in the first round?
Yeah, they took him in the first round.
Yeah,
Campbell
that's
was
who
the
I
one they
was.
took in the first round.
There was another one.
I know there was a different one that went later. Hold on, just looking at Iowa guys. 2023. Oh, they got out of Iowa the tight end Sam Laporta.
Nope.
Not that one you're thinking of? Okay.
Nope. First rounder, I don't even remember who he was to anymore now.
Well, the only Iowa first rounder that
Iowa State.
Iowa State.
There it is. It's the Jets. Will McDonald IV. And I was like, who? Chris.
Yeah. I heard you. I just don't see him on here for some reason.
Pick 1, 15. He went to the Jets.
Yeah. There we go. I don't know. I kept looking for Iowa State when you said it, and I'm like, why can I not see it? And even now, as I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that says Iowa State, but why does that look wrong? I'm like, what the?
Okay,
yeah,
so no, but I am actually interested in Campbell as well. Big linebacker out of Iowa. I think he'll be fun to watch. I don't know how much time he'll get in the game or not.
Hard to say.
It is very hard to say. Yeah. They also picked up a corner from Marshall by the name of Stephen Gilmore.
Yep. Stephen Gilmore.
Not Stephen Gilmore. Stephen.
Still could be good, though.
I don't know if there's a relation.
I have no idea. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But I think that'll be fun. Of course, with the Giants, you're really trying to figure out how this offense is going to... You're not going to see most of their major starters. You're not going to see Jones. You're obviously not going to see Barkley. You'll probably see Taylor and DeVito. And you'll probably see Breida and who knows who in the backfield. James Robinson, maybe, see if he's still got any gas in the tank.
Yeah, probably. You'll probably see some of him, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would like to see some Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, a couple
wide
snaps,
receiver.
Next couple series, yeah.
Get a couple series out of him. And just kind of see... Because this wide receiver room is really young, outside of 2 players.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Because they got Cole Beasley and Jamison Crowder are the only people over 30.
Yeah. I know, right? It's crazy.
Jaden Mickens is 29. Everybody else is like... Well, Sterling Shepard is also 30. But, like, most of the people are, like, 22, 23, 25.
They got a lot... They got a big young core, yeah.
Yeah. And then you also got Darren Waller.
Yeah.
We're not gonna... I don't
you're
think
probably
we're
not going to see him.
We're not going to see much of him.
Probably not.
Now, John Michael...
Especially with his injury history.
Yeah. John Michael Schmitz, on the other hand...
Yes.
I'd like to see some of him out there as a center. And, I mean, I know normally we don't talk about offensive linemen, but that dude is a boss. And I would love to see how they're going to use him in the running game. That's going to be fun to watch, I think. Outside of that, they don't really have anybody else that makes me jump out of my seat that I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to see X.
Can't wait to see that guy.
I mean, Deontay Banks, maybe?
A little bit. Like, I'll be interested to see him, but I'm not like...
Yeah.
trying to throw myself at the TV to watch them. You know.
Yeah, and then I believe the Lions also got that safety from Alabama.
Oh yeah. I
Branch.
could not tell you his name. Yeah, Branch. Yep.
I'm going to be interested to see what they do with him.
Yeah, we'll probably get a couple series with him too.
Yeah, I would hope.
I hope so, anyways.
I would hope so too. All right, then at 6:30, you're going to have the Commanders and the Browns. We've already had one game with the Browns, so we kind of already know what we're looking for there. I'd like to see some more DTR.
More DTR.
Yes, more DTR. I think
that's all I want. Just give me more DTR.
I cannot wait to see a couple of series with Howell. I don't know if he'll get in or not.
I would like to see at least a series with him, but yeah, we're probably not going to get that much.
I'd also like to see some more Jake Fromm. I don't think he's a horrible quarterback.
Jake Fromm.
And obviously, I think Brissett's going to see quite a bit of work.
Depending on,
I think most of the game is going to be split between Fromm and Brissett. But I'd like to see at least a series out of Howell.
Absolutely, yeah.
Outside of that, I know we're probably not going to see Terry McLaurin or Jahan Dotson.
Nah, not at all.
Not at all.
You're not going to put Scary Terry in there. It's just not going to happen.
No, you're not going to risk him getting hurt this early on.
Exactly.
In the thing, yeah. Yeah. I mean, outside of that, there wasn't much. I think they got Emmanuel Forbes, but the more I've looked at him, the more I've wondered if he wasn't a bit of a reach. Because he was good, but I think a lot of his stuff came from people underthrowing. And him just being in the right place. He would get cooked, and a quarterback would underthrow.
You might be right, but the thing is, watching some of his tape too, you also have to kind of consider the fact that if you're in the perfect place at the right time enough times, it starts making you wonder: is it actually you're just in the right place at the right time, or are you just good at reading the quarterback?
That's true. Like I said,
that's why I'll be interested to watch him, because I want to know how much are you right? Is it that he was just getting underthrown, or was it that he was actually reading the QB and knew what the QB was going to do?
And again, I am very interested to see some Sam Howell. I'm very interested to see some more DTR.
God, I really want to see those guys, but
I don't know if we'll see Sam Howell. We should see some more DTR though.
We'll see DTR. I don't think we'll see much, if any, of Sam Howell.
And then that night, Broncos-Cardinals.
So, obviously, Broncos, we're not getting Russ. You're just not getting Russ at all.
No, you're not going to get Russ whatsoever.
Who's their backups right now?
Stidham
for QB
and DiNucci. I'd like to see some Stidham.
Stidham, I'll be okay with. DiNucci, I have no interest in. If they're not going to play, obviously, most of their wide receivers based on their already injured, crippling problems.
Yeah. I'd still like to see some Mims out there.
I don't think we're going to, though. I just have a feeling that they're so scared now.
And it is Tim Patrick, by the way.
It was Tim Patrick. Okay, apologies.
Yeah.
TBC Patrick. Yeah, I'm interested to see the Broncos only to see how Sean Payton runs the system. Just to see what kind of system we're going to get. More than anything else.
That's going to be interesting. We also have to remember they didn't have a lot of draft picks because they spent a lot of stuff to go get Russ. So you kind of have to, And
that's really why I'm mostly interested in just seeing what system and coaching we're going to get, because that's really kind of going to be the most interesting about Denver. As far as Arizona goes, I hate to say it, but I have almost no interest in the Cardinals.
I mean, I really don't either. Obviously, we're not going to see Murray. So they've got... Huh?
I said no, yeah, we're not going to get Murray, yeah.
So they've got Blau, Driscoll, and McCoy.
Which none of them are interesting.
And Clayton Tune, who I think has a great name.
That is a great name.
And he is a rookie. So I would like to see some of him.
I mean... Yeah, I guess. Just for the name alone, I guess. Why not?
I mean, they don't really have anything that makes me go, oh, like, I want to see that guy run the ball or
Right?
something.
Yeah.
I want to see if Hollywood Brown can find himself again, because he didn't do crap last year.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Didn't they pick up a new defensive end in this draft?
they definitely picked up a new OT in Paris Johnson Jr.
Oh, Paris Johnson Jr. Okay, that's the one that I am actually interested in. Because that was a
I
good pick
would
for
like
them.
to see him a little bit. I think that would be kind of
Yep.
fun to see. No, they didn't pick up a D end.
Okay, I'm misremembering then.
They picked up a D tackle, a couple of them.
Oh, okay. That might be what I'm thinking of then.
Jacob Slade and Dante Stills.
Slay is the interesting one there, I think. Not that Stills won't be, but I think Slay is a little bit more interesting of a prospect, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they didn't do. I think the most interesting thing that they did do was trade that pick away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
Garrett Williams at cornerback out of Syracuse.
That'll be interesting, but I don't know how interesting.
Yeah. I don't know how much is going to be any good. I think they're going to be... Now, apparently, the new regime is actually holding players accountable.
Yeah, it sounds like they're
That is the big thing, is like, you're getting there, and if you're 5 minutes late, they're locking the doors.
Yeah.
And you're just out. You're fined for the day. Go back home. Try again tomorrow.
Yeah, it sounds like Gannon, right, is coming in and just going, no, this is... My word is law, and this is it.
Yep.
And it sounds like they're enforcing it and letting him do that, which is
because
probably
they
a
did
good
suck
thing.
last year, and they've sucked for a couple of years, because it's great and it's nice to have a coach that is a player's coach that kind of lets you get away with things, as long as you're mature enough to
I was gonna say
not take too much.
And if your players don't respect you, they're not going to listen to what you say either. So it sounds like, from what I heard from last year's, Kingsbury lost that locker room about a quarter way through the season, and you can tell.
Yep. Saturday, August 12th. Colts and Bills at noon.
Everyone wants to see Richardson. You're not seeing Richardson.
You are not.
It's not happening. You're not seeing Richardson.
You won't get a single down with him on this.
You will not get a single damn snap out of him.
Sam Ellinger, Minshew, and yeah, those are going to be the guys that split.
I'll be interested in Minshew mostly, but
those are going to be the guys that split most of that. I do not know who, if Zach Moss is out and Jonathan Taylor is out, who's your next man up?
Who is their next guy?
I have no idea.
Did they just recently sign somebody, or I thought they were going to?
They either did or they were going to, but they've got a bunch of rookies.
Oh, they did.
So
yeah.
I think they're gonna run around with that. Toriano Clinton, Evan Hull, Xavier Scott, and yeah, those are their big. Those are all their rookie running backs. They've also got Deion Jackson and a guy that I hope makes the roster and maybe gets to start, Jake Funk.
Funk.
Love that
name.
What
a funkster. What a funky funkster.
But yeah, it's watching their running backs and what they do without JT and who could emerge as the second back, just in case he doesn't play. I think that's going to be that's going to be the fun part to watch. Interested in seeing if Josh Downs gets any snaps. I don't know if he'll get much.
He'll get a couple, I think, but not much.
Yeah, I don't know that he'll get a whole lot. It'll be fun. I think watching him is going to be interesting, if nothing else. I really don't know what else to think about the Colts right now.
I'm just in general interested to see kind of what they do. Just in general, like, what are we going to get? What kind of Colts team are we going to get? Because on paper, they're a very good team. But as we've seen several times for the Colts, what's on paper doesn't always translate very well for them.
No, it does not. So what they get out of that is going to be fun to watch. Buffalo, I am excited to see if they end up actually playing the guy. I I don't know that we'll get to see Dawson Knox.
Kincaid, right?
Or Kincaid, yeah. Not Knox,
Yeah.
Kincaid. I would love
I
to
would
see...
love to see Kincaid, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I would love it. I don't think it's happening. But it would be fun.
It would be fun.
Uh,
We're also not seeing Josh Allen. Don't even...
no, not going to see Josh Allen.
Who's their backup?
Kyle Allen and Matt Barkley.
I'm sorry, that's kind of funny, actually. Josh Allen's backup. Kyle Allen. What? Are they brothers? No, not related whatsoever.
Not related whatsoever. Although they do kind of look like each other a little bit.
It's hilarious.
And Matt Barkley.
I'm
actually interested in seeing the rookie running back Jordan Mims. I want to see if he's any good whatsoever.
They gotta hope that he's at least somewhat good.
Yeah.
Because they need somebody out there.
They need something.
Listen, if they didn't sign Cook, they must have something there that works. I don't know what it is, but it can't be Josh Allen. And if it is Josh Allen, you got a problem.
Yeah, they need to find something there that works. And I don't know that they know what it is at this point.
You're probably right, but I hope that they figure it out.
Yeah. I still think the Bills are going to be a good team this year. I can't wait to see what some of their rookies do, but they don't have a whole lot either.
No.
That's the problem when you're that good for that long.
You have less opportunities to get some of the better players, yeah.
All right, so also at noon, Titans, Bears.
So, Titans, I'll be interested, obviously. We're not going to see Hopkins. It's not going to happen.
No,
but
I would like to see how he integrates, but you're not going to see it.
But I would like to see their other wide receiver for a couple snaps, Burks. Like, Treylon Burks. I would like to see him for a couple snaps. That would be really nice. I don't know if we will, but I would like to see that. I'm also interested to see Will Levis and Malik. That's going to be fun. Because those are the two guys we're going to see probably. We're probably not going to see Tannehill at all. But you're going to see Will Levis.
You'll probably see a bit of Levis.
A bit of Levis and Malik Willis, right? Malik Willis?
Malik Willis, yes.
Yep. And I've heard, supposedly, the rumor is that Malik has looked better this offseason. Because remember, last year when he had to take over, he looked really bad.
Now, also, I'm interested in seeing Tyjae Spears.
Oh, yeah, Spears, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. They drafted Tyjae Spears.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
As a running back behind, let's see what he can do behind Derrick Henry.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Because we're not going to see any of Derrick Henry, obviously.
Absolutely not, yeah.
No, they're not going to put Henry out there in any shape or form. Yeah. Also kind of interested in Skoronski.
Yeah, Skoronski will be an interesting one.
I don't know if we'll see a whole lot of him.
You might, because that's not a position that really, takes big. I mean, it does take brunt force, but it doesn't take nearly as much trauma as like other guys that get hit, right? So like,
offensive tackle, but you can still blow
you might see him a bit.
Blow your knee out pretty easily there.
Oh yeah. I'm just thinking that I could see him definitely still playing like a couple series, like for sure.
Yeah, you could easily see him playing a few series. So yeah, they've got some interesting pieces that I'm interested in seeing what they do with them. I am definitely interested in Levis and seeing what Levis does. Now, Bears. You are not in any way seeing Justin Fields.
No, God, no.
He is not.
You're also not seeing Moore. You're not seeing DJ Moore.
You are not going to see Moore.
You're not seeing Claypool. It ain't happening.
No, you're not going to see that. Their backups are Bagent and Peterman and PJ Walker.
Walker, I'm actually kind of interested in. The Ruthers, not so much.
Bagent is a rookie from Shepherd.
Yeah, I'll watch, but I'm not. I don't have high hopes.
Yeah. Now, I will say that Rashawn Johnson might be fun to watch, running back from Texas.
Possibly, yeah.
And at least trying to see maybe if he's going to stick with the team or something along those lines.
Right.
I don't think that you're going to probably see, you'll probably see Dante Pettis out there. I can imagine that you're going to see Aaron Cruikshank.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to see some of the lower-ended guys there. I don't know that you're going to see a whole lot of big named guys. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here that they had a lot of stuff to have to do, and I don't know how many people you're actually going to see and how many people you're not. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. And then Jets Panthers. Obviously, we're not going to see the person everybody wants to see with that game.
You're not seeing Young. That's
You're
just
not going
to
see Young.
You're not going to see Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, we've already seen the Jets a little bit.
Yeah, we're not going to see pretty much any of the Jets guys, except for the ones that you've already seen.
I would like to see some Jonathan Mingo out there.
Yeah, you might see a little bit of Mingo, maybe only a couple series at most.
It'd be interesting, if nothing else.
Interesting. Yep.
And outside of that,
yeah,
they really
honestly,
didn't draft anybody
the big
that made
one.
me go, ooh.
Yeah, the big one was Young, and you're just not going to get it.
You're not going to get Young.
So unfortunately, we're just going to have to just kind of watch and see how the coaching goes over there, because they got their new coach, obviously. So
yeah, and then you've got the Jaguars and the Cowboys at 4 p.m.
So Jaguars, you're not getting Trevor Lawrence. I would love to see a couple series or at least a snap or two with Ridley just to see if he's still got it, but you're probably not going to get it.
You're probably not going to get that.
Do they have any other wide receivers that they drafted? I don't think they drafted a wide receiver this year. Not that I can think of unless it's further down. Not like one of the big ones.
Jeray Jenkins, Elijah Cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think I don't know if there's much that excites me about Jacksonville outside of what their starting roster is right now.
Yeah.
I love their starting roster, but their second string.
Well, I am
scares me a little
excited
bit
to see what they do with Antonio Johnson.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Because they did grab him, and I think that'll be fun to watch.
That's true.
So, yeah, there isn't much else, though, obviously.
No, at least not.
I would also love to see if we can get a feel for how Trayvon Walker is coming across.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see much of him, though.
And honestly, there's not much that excites me about Dallas.
Did they get a tight end as well?
No, they wanted to.
They wanted to get,
oh, yeah, they did. Schoonmaker.
Oh, that's right, but that was later down, right?
Yep.
Because they wanted to get Kincaid, obviously, and the Bills went, no.
Yep. Now, they did pick up that big defensive tackle, and I'm going to be interested to see how much leeway they give Mozzie Smith.
True. Did they do anything with their backup room for QB? I don't think they did.
No.
Still Cooper Rush, right?
Still Cooper Rush, and
it was Dalton
Will
before,
Greer.
but it's not Dalton anymore.
No, Will Greer.
Greer, that's right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Dallas is another one of those teams that's not I'll watch the two teams play against each other if there's anything interesting, but after probably the first quarter,
and of course the Deuce Vaughn story is fun.
Well, yeah, but that's
I don't really know if he'll be any good or not.
Who knows?
Then at 6 you have Eagles Ravens. You're not going to get much out of that.
You're not going to get much out of what you hope for. I mean, you might see a little bit of Swift with the Eagles. You might actually get.
Well, you might also see a very, very small bit of Jalen Carter with the Eagles.
Yeah, you might see just a little bit, but outside of that, there's really not a whole lot that's going to be ooh.
I mean, right? Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo. I think that's going to be
Ringo, maybe. Yeah.
But I mean, overall, no. You're not. There's not a whole lot.
Yeah,
they're going to have.
I'm not
there.
going
Swift,
oh my gosh, I got to see that. You know.
And the Ravens. That wide receiver.
Oh yeah, they got who was it?
Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers. Yeah, that will be interesting. I think we'll probably only get if we get any, it'll be only a couple series.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to get any Lamar.
Oh, yeah, and I was gonna say it would have been interesting to say Odell, but we're not obviously probably gonna get to Odell at all in this.
So. No, probably not. You're probably not going to see Lamar either. It's going to be Anthony Brown and Tyler Huntley.
Yeah,
quite.
It's probably gonna be mostly Huntley, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So.
For at least a half, probably it's gonna be a split half.
Chargers, Rams. You're not going to see either of the two major quarterbacks.
No, but I want to see that wide receiver from the Chargers.
Everybody
that freak
wants
of
to
nature,
see him.
Man.
Yes. I don't know that we'll see him more than a series, but Quentin Johnson, I'm excited.
I would be surprised if you see him at all, but I would love to see a series at least.
Would love to. Don't know that we will, but that would be
Probably
nice.
Not.
Probably not. Nice. We can't have anything nice.
No, especially the Chargers. I mean, come on. they seem to somehow ruin their players without ruining their players. Like I don't know how that happens.
You know what? I'm going to say this: if he plays in the first game in one series, he's going to blow his ACL.
Oh God, don't do that.
Because that's the Chargers.
Yeah, but now you just jinxed it. So if I see him even step on the field and be like, oh God dang, he's going to blow his ACL.
Now I will say that I'm at least mildly interested in the Rams, because I would love to see them play some Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't know. Honestly, there's a lot with the Rams where it's just going to be interesting to see, like, what are we going to get? Like, I'm just kind of, it's like...
And somebody, there's
it's like a box
Bootleg has been talking up about this Puka Nauka.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to see how he plays.
Yeah, the Rams in general interest me just because, like,
there's so many new faces, and there's so many new faces.
But they had such a bad year last year, but it was all because of like a bunch of injuries, and a bunch of like bad circumstances, and I don't know. I'm just interested to see kind of how they're kind of going to try to bounce back. You know,
that'll be fun to at least watch a little bit of. Then Sunday at noon, Chiefs Saints.
So obviously with Saints, like, there is a chance we'll see Carr for a series, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see him until the second or third game.
No. Yeah. I believe his backup is still Jameis Winston, right?
Yep, and they picked up Jake Haener from Fresno State in the draft, and I'd love to see some Haener.
So I'm also still interested in Winston, because I think that kid, like, he's got so much talent. If he can just get that over the damn line, like he's...
Yep.
I want to see if he's continued to improve, especially after that injury he sustained. So I'm very interested in that. Obviously, there's also question marks on some of the... Like, I don't think you're going to see a lot of, like, the Saints running back room or wide receiver room, obviously. I just don't think you will, but they got some interesting pieces. I'm interested to see what the Saints kind of do.
Yeah, and I'm also interested, of course, in Brisset and Isaiah Foskey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty interested in that. I think it's going to be a very interesting year if you're going to be the Saints.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be good, but it'll be interesting.
I don't know if they're going to be good either. But I think it'll be fun to watch.
To put
that. Kansas City. Yeah, you're Kansas City. I'm not really interested in
I have zero interest, especially with how you draft, because, like, you don't draft bad, you just don't get a lot of the interesting names. So it's like
And then the final game, San Francisco and Las Vegas.
So for San Francisco, the big question marks are going to be Trey Lance, Brock Purdy. What are we getting? Who are we getting? Darnold, right? Like, what are we getting? Like, that's interesting. How are they going to do that, right?
Yes.
I'm very interested with that. As far as for the rest of their team, like, I already know kind of what you're going to get. I'm not super interested in a lot of other things, but I'm mostly interested in the 3 QB way going. Yeah. It's
now,
that 3 QB
Las
way.
Vegas, on the other hand. There's definitely some interest there. We're not going to see Garoppolo.
Probably not, especially with how injury prone that guy is. Like, it would be really dumb to put him out there.
I would like to see some Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
And we'll probably see some Brian Hoyer or Chase Garbers.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
It's also going to be interesting to see who takes over for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, who is their backup right now? That's going to be taking over.
They've got a bunch. They've got Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden, Britton Brown, Sincere McCormick, Austin Walter, and Zamir White.
Interesting.
Yep. So that's going to be interesting.
I almost wonder, would it be a good idea for Vegas to pursue Cook if they're worried about Jacobs not coming back?
Cook or Fournette or Zeke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm highly interested in watching Michael Mayer.
True. Yeah, but I don't know if we'll see much of him.
I don't know if we'll see much of him. And Tyree Wilson.
Tyree Wilson, yeah.
Love to see a series with him.
Fair. That's fair.
So, I think this is going to be an interesting game. It's probably going to be Frisco that wins that, but like I said, those are kind of the interesting things we're going to look at this season. I don't know. I don't know what to think about the rest of it right now, to be honest.
Like the thing is, there's a lot of interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting storylines, and this is just kicking off this week. So until this first slate of games happens,
it's gonna be hard to like. Obviously, we named quite a few people who we liked, and they're obviously like higher draft picks. But that's why I'm also interested to watch these games, because I know that there's gonna be some lower draft pick guys, and I'm gonna go, oh wow,
that guy can play.
That guy can play. And so that's why I want to wait until, because like obviously I feel bad because I know that there are going to be people that are going to be should be deserved to be on this list as people to watch for. I just don't know who they are right now.
Until we watch those games.
That's why I'm very interested in next week, because I want to watch those games and just go, okay, that guy looked really good.
Did you see that guy looked really good?
That guy looked really good.
Like we were just talking about DTR.
Exactly.
A lot of it came, I think it was third, fourth round pick, something like that, maybe even later. And when I mentioned his name, you're like, I don't know, I didn't watch any of him in college. And I was I watched a little bit of him enough to know that he's got some talent. And then watching him last night, you went, yeah, it's there.
Well, no, I was, the thing is, that was funny is I watched, I did go back and watch some of his stuff and started looking at some of his stuff and go, all right, he's kind of interesting. I'd be interested to see what an NFL coach can do with him.
Yeah, and that's going to be what could Stefanski do with him?
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be fun to watch.
And they have a good QB's coach, so like.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be fun to watch. I don't know that he'll ever take over.
He might not, but he's got
somebody will take a look at him
right now. It looks like he's got some potential there that could,
Anyway,
does he have that next gear? Don't know, but if he does, that could be a really scary guy.
Oh yeah, if he finds that next gear to the next ceiling,
that'll be dangerous. Right. Yeah.
I don't have anything else. I think we've gone long enough.
Yep.
All right. With that being said, if you liked what we did here, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If not, do it anyway. Fuck you. I know we have at least one new viewer from the Discord group you and I are a part of when we played 14.
Yes.
So, hi to you. I know you don't watch sports, but I know you're probably watching us anyway, Winter. It's good to see you. For the rest of y'all, we hope that whatever you do this week, that you can accomplish it, put your mind to it. We hope that you have a great week, and we will see you back here next week for our first review of the first week of the NFL preseason. Welcome to Season 2.